All right,
Hi.
Houston. This is Quibbles Over Coffee. I remember this time. Here's
Hi.
what's going on. Okay.
Okay.
Last night, between the wee hours of approximately 1 a.m. and approximately 4 a.m.
Okay.
Standard Time,
Okay.
one Stephen Destiny Bennell and one Vaushv. I don't know Vaush's actual real name, which makes me feel bad about myself. But the two of them, okay, were debating over our tweet
Okay.
for 3.5 hours.
Wow.
For three
That's a
and a half
lot.
hours. It's a noticeable number of hours. Now,
Yeah.
okay. I was thinking about what we should do to respond to Vaush's response, or the debate over Vaush's response to Destiny's response to our tweet, which is a response to Sean's tweet, which is a response to our tweet calling Sean out for not sharing the information as to how much money Sean makes
Yeah.
on Patreon. I was thinking, how do we respond to the totality of this?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm guessing this is where the document comes in.
I came to a conclusion. I told Houston has never seen this document before. I just want everyone to know. I came to the conclusion that the best thing that I could do was write a 52-page long PowerPoint presentation, okay, on specifically why I am mad. Okay.
Oh, and you're mad.
Okay. Why Jonah is mad.
Oh my God.
Play from start. You can see this, yes? It's all beautiful?
Yeah, I can see it perfectly.
Why Jonah
By the way, I don't think we've ever acknowledged that that's like great art. Like, thank you so much. That's awesome.
We're very talented here at Quibbles Over Coffee. That's why it's very attractive. Okay. Why Jonah is mad, a manifesto.
Okay.
Part 1. Sean sucks. Okay.
Gotcha.
Sean, we had a whole video about this before, but we'll do a little bit of sort of rehashing.
Last time on Quibbles Over Coffee.
Yeah. Okay. So I asked. So there was a whole argument for a long period of time about minimum wage, blah 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 blah, lots of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But the result of it was a long back and forth. I didn't show the whole long back and forth here. It doesn't really matter. But there was a long back and forth between me and Sean about the fact that Sean hides his income on Patreon.
Right.
And I asked, what's the actual number and why is it hidden? And his response is that he doesn't show because the group of people who give me shit for not showing his income are slightly less annoying than the group of people who gave me shit when I showed it, which is fucking ridiculous. We'll go into why that's fucking ridiculous, but it's fucking ridiculous.
Questions.
My response is you don't feel like you have a moral obligation as a leader in left media with close to 400,000 subs to try and help smaller creators know how different revenue streams work within your industry. Okay.
The tweet heard around the world.
The tweet heard literally by over 20,000 people last night alone.
Yeah.
Literally. Yes. Okay. Now,
that's a lot of people.
That's Sean. Sean does not show on Patreon his income level.
Right, as we see.
That is slide 1.
Okay.
This is slide 2. Philosophy Tube also does not show his Patreon amount. That's slide 2.
Who's Philosophy Tube?
Philosophy Tube, she's a she's a really important, she's got like 900,000 subscribers, very large YouTuber, video essayist. She had the most cancerously disgusting, she's a trans woman, she had the most cancerously disgusting argument, or debate rather, not debate rather, no, argument, I'm sorry. I'm bad at words, it's irrelevant. A terrible argument for in favor of abortion, which to be clear, I support legal abortion,
sure.
But her argument was the single worst argument I have ever heard in the history of my life. And I had it was a long time ago that I watched that video. But I had literally a 7-hour long debate with a friend of mine. Admittedly, we were both high, but we had a 7-hour long debate just about this one video. And we didn't speak to each other for like 3 weeks after that.
Wow.
But now we're friends again, so it's okay. But the point is that fuck philosophy tube for a couple of reasons. One, because her argument there was absolute shit, and second, because this is bullshit, and she should be telling us how much money she makes because it's important. We'll get to why it's important, but first we just need to name and shame. It's fun to name and shame.
Okay.
Next, we're going to name and shame Mr. Reagan the incel. Mr. Reagan the incel. He is the worst. He is an incel, an involuntary celibate. He's like one of those.
We should do an episode on incels. I don't understand. We should
do an episode on incels.
I think they're fascinating.
I don't know why
they are.
They are fascinating. I'm sorry.
What?
So anyway,
okay, we'll do that.
We'll do that eventually. But first, we just need to talk about fucking Mr. Reagan, the worst. I shame you. You are on the list of shame. Next on the list of shame is Xander Hall. Xander Hall is this 21-year-old, which is old enough that I feel comfortable making fun of him. I've decided that the arbitrary cutoff point where I no longer feel comfortable making fun of people is 17 and a half. That's my decision. You can argue against that decision, but that's my decision as to when you can start making fun of people online. When they're 17 and a half, you can start making fun of them. Anyway, Xander Hall, fuck Xander Hall. He wants to be Vaushv really badly. He's not Vaushv. Also, he hides his Patreon earnings, which is bad. Next, Sam Cedar. I broadly like Sam Cedar. We're moving on. Also, ContraPoints. I broadly like ContraPoints. We're moving on. Also, H-Bomber Guy. I don't really know H-Bomber Guy. Bad H-Bomber Guy. You should tell us how much money you're making. Also, Jimmy Dore, obviously. Fuck Jimmy Dore. Okay, Jimmy Dore is the worst. We hate Jimmy Dore. Everything about Jimmy Dore is bad. We're not going to go into why we hate Jimmy Dore because I have a feeling this is going to be a long episode regardless. But fuck Jimmy Dore. He's the worst. Okay. Also, fuck Jimmy Dore's lackeys. Specifically, Nico House, the worst. Also, he hides his income on Patreon. How dare you, Nico House? Fuck you, Nico House. You suck. Also, Tim Black. You suck. Also, the Convo Couch. You suck. Also, Ron Placone. You suck. Also, turns out that when you are getting paid by Vladimir Putin, that apparently Vladimir Putin just doesn't pay well enough because apparently you also need a Patreon account when you're getting paid by Vladimir Putin, the fucking dictator murderer. Okay. This guy, Caleb Maupin, is the worst. He's a fake communist. Okay. He's a goddamn tanky and I hate him. He's the worst. Okay. Now you have, what's up? Oh yeah. I'm just going through. We just got to go through. It's important that we name and shame. Now we have Dick Seymour. His name is Dick Seymour. Richard Seymour. I'm sorry.
That's
we have
really
to
funny.
Unpack this. One,
that's really
it
funny.
Is child abuse to name your son Richard. That is a form of child abuse.
It is.
Second, the idea that you would name your son Richard when your last name is Seymour is extra child abuse. Yeah. Extra child abuse. Okay. Yeah. When you introduce this child in the context of a school, okay, what they do is they say Seymour, comma, Dick. You are asking for this child to be bullied. Okay. And to be clear, he deserves to be bullied because he did not show his Patreon earnings. He's a bad person. We're moving on. Cuck philosophy. Bad. We're moving on. Ring of Fire. Bad. We're moving on. Candace Owens, because of course Candace Owens. She's a far right person. We do not like Candace Owens. She is bad. She works for Turning Point USA, which we have a whole episode about how we want to work for Turning Point USA, but we don't yet, and therefore fuck Turning Point USA, and also fuck Candace Owens. They wouldn't give us a job. I just want a $200K salary from Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk at Turning Point USA. That's all I want. Moving on, the moderate rebels. Moving on. Here's the Houston's question. Houston, ask Houston's question.
Does that mean it's hard to share vital information and act clash consciously in the most basic fucking way imaginable?
No. Part 2. Big Joel, good. He shares his information.
Just so you know, we've been on part 2 for like 20 slides.
Irrelevant. Part 2, Surfs TV. Listen, Houston, okay? Just let me live my life. I didn't sleep very well last night. I was
Obviously.
beefing on Twitter, and also they kept on arguing for so long. At the end of that argument, they were literally arguing about fucking slavery and land and all of this shit. And I'm like, oh my God, just talk about Patreon. This whole thing is supposed to be about Patreon. Why are you talking about all of this? Frick, whatever. Surfs TV, good. Riley Grace Rochon, good. The good Christian debate bros at a modern day debate, good. Kim Iverson, good. Asterisks in this very specific context. The Cavernacker, good. Humanist Report, good. I'm really important, good. You were like, oh, Jonah, this is like 52 pages long. This is going to take forever. No, these are short. I told you when I was going to introduce this all, these are short pages. Jangles, good. Richard Wolf, good. Status quo, in this very, very specific context, good. Kyle Kulinski, good. Again, in this very specific context. Chapo Trap House, good. Primo Nutmeg, good. In this very specific context. Dave Packman, good. Bad Faith, good. Question mark. Let's clarify. Brianna Joy Gray is still going to hell. Anthony Brian Logan, also good, but also he's like a super far right bad person and we don't like him and he's probably also going to hell. Sydney fucking Watson, question mark. Okay, she's bad. Let's clarify, she's bad. She is doing this correctly.
She's a Watson.
Yeah, no, she's a different Watson. She's a very different Watson. Yeah. No, we don't approve. We we can do a video on her at some point, but we don't approve, or I don't approve. I don't know if you probably don't know all of these people.
I don't know any of these people.
The thing is that like you're like a fundamentally normal person who isn't like toxically exclusively online all of the time.
I'm just in different fan groups.
Quarantine has been very bad for me.
Yeah.
Quarantine has been really bad for me, Houston.
Yeah.
It has been a long quarantine. I really need the vaccine badly so I can go be a part of society. They made me spit into a fucking like petri dish earlier today. They were like, Jonah, we gotta test if you have COVID. And I'm like, sweetheart, I haven't left my apartment in 4 days. I don't have COVID, but they're like, you got to spit in the vial. And I'm like, put tui. And then I don't even know if I have COVID. They aren't even able to like tell me if I have COVID yet. They have to just be like, oh, we're going to get back to you in 3 days. Listen, life will be different in 3 days. Maybe I'll have COVID then, even if I don't have it now. Anyway, we're moving on. Superpower Broadcasting. I love his tie. Superpower Broadcasting is this fascist man whose entire channel is devoted to how much he loves bombs and how they go pew 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 and kill people. But his tie is extraordinarily attractive. I'm into dominant fascists. We're moving on. This is part 2.5. Vaushv is good.
Really?
Vaushv shows the amount of money that he makes every month from Patreon. So in that sense, Vaushv is good. We approve of this action from Vaushv. This is part 2.5. Vaushv good. Part 3. Except Vaushv bad. Okay, why is Vaushv bad? Well, the first thing is that he defended SHAUN's hiding vital information. Okay, now let's just unpack really quickly. Why is this vital information? It's vital information because we have to be able to have more people creating left-wing content. There are not enough people creating left-wing content. I know I just went through like a bunch of different people, but like some of those were fascists and others were Jimmy Dore. So like we just don't have enough. We don't have enough people who are creating left-wing content, and we need to have more. And the way that happens is by ensuring that there is a business model by which that is possible. The only way that we can show which business models people should be moving towards is for people to understand easily, okay, this is how much money I would be making with this size of an audience. If I were a Twitch streamer, this is how much I'd be making as a YouTuber. This is how much I'd be making from Patreon. This is how much, this is how all of these different revenue streams. It's really complicated. when we talk about revenue streams in a gig economy, which the internet is definitionally a gig economy system, it's much more complicated than simply a historic union structure, which is the only thing that you really need to defend people's rights as employees and as workers in the context of a conventional system of work. Okay. So that's the first part that Vaushv says that is bad. He defended SHAUN's hiding of vital information. Fuck you, Vaushv. You shouldn't have done that. Okay. The second thing that Vaushv did that is bad is that he thinks leftists not acting in accordance with principle is Gucci. It's not. It's not Gucci.
What?
Yes. Last night, he was saying that it is a morally neutral act to like be a wildly exploitative business owner that does bad things to your employees, and that it's perfectly reasonable. And like, there's a 3.5 hour long. I don't want to undersell the importance of our tweet. 3.5 hour long debate between Vaushv and Destiny, and in it, Vaushv literally advocates and says that this incredibly anarcho-capitalistic perspective of like, well, doesn't matter if you do something wrong because someone else is just going to take the business, build a business anyway. So if you build a bad business, someone else would have built a bad business anyway. So it doesn't matter if you do that because it's the same, because everyone's just going to be exploited by capitalism. And I'm like, fuck you. I'm sorry. There are differences between different kinds of businesses. They're not the same. And like, you have an obligation to act in accordance with your principle as a business owner. And if you don't think that like certain things are acceptable actions from a societal perspective, then you shouldn't be doing them on a from a personal perspective, because that's bad. Fuck you, Vaushv. We're moving on. Also, Vaushv's bad part too. Okay. He's okay with private land ownership somehow. He didn't even bring up the idea of land trust as an option. Did you even watch the thing last night?
Of course not.
Houston, there was a thing where 20,000 people were watching my tweet, and you don't even care about my tweet. Okay, it doesn't even matter. The point is that in that 3.5 hour long debate, okay, Vaushv says some fucking wild shit, some genuinely fucking wild shit, including that. So there was a conversation about like, okay, is it acceptable as someone who is opposed to slavery to own a slave? To which the response is no, right? That is the obvious response.
Yeah.
Vaushv's response was maybe, because Vaushv's argument was like, well, it's bad to be a slave owner because you will increase the number of slaves that are in slavery, because people will be brought into this country in order to be your slave. I'm sorry. That's fucking wrong. You don't understand history and you're fucking stupid, because that's not actually true. There were laws for literally the majority of the history of slavery in this country that said that you weren't allowed to bring new people into the country as slaves. You could solely have the children of slaves as slaves, and that was the only supply of slaves. The idea that the number of people in bondage will increase because you own a slave is a lie. So by Vaushv's definition, by Vaushv's argument that he provided last night, it's perfectly morally permissible to fucking own people so long as other people already own people and you aren't able personally to stop the system of people fucking owning people. Vaushv, I hate you, you're wrong. Okay, the second thing that he said was that feudalism is somehow better than slavery. That is wrong. We're moving on. Part 3.5. Destiny. Good. Houston, I feel like you're just like, you're giving me this look like I'm crazy, but I promise you I'm not crazy.
I just want to clarify. I think you said we didn't bring in slaves for a majority of the time slavery's been in America, but it's different per state, and around I think early 1800s is when they changed the laws about bringing slaves in. So not the majority, but like definitely there were slaves after we stopped bringing in slaves.
Yeah, I meant the majority. You're right. In terms of years, you're totally right that it was not the majority. In terms of number of slaves, it was the majority. So the actual the number of people who were enslaved drastically increased over time. There was a point where Virginia, what the largest produce of Virginia was no longer even any sort of good. It was people. Their largest good was they were just sort of a breeding ground for healthy slaves to be I shouldn't say exported, but moved. Exported suggests it's a different country,
Traded.
But moved to different places across the country.
Yeah, I'm just clarifying.
Yeah, no, that's a valid clarification. I appreciate it. Okay, part 3.5, Destiny good. So Destiny pointed out the hypocrisy. I appreciate that. He shared the tweet. I appreciate that. He had a stream in front of 20,000 people about the conversation, about the tweet. I appreciate that. And he actually shares information about his economic standing. That's also good. Okay. So 3.5, let's take a moment and say Destiny is good. Destiny is good. Destiny is good. You got to say it with me. Destiny is good.
Destiny is good.
Destiny is good. Oh, I thought we were singing at the end there. It's okay. That is part 3.5. But part 4, by contrast, is fuck Destiny. Destiny is bad. Okay, here's why Destiny is bad. Destiny
could have seen that coming.
Doesn't believe what he was saying on our behalf at all. Okay, so here we are talking about tax avoidance. Now, I want to be clear. I do not support the existence of taxes. We're going to have that episode at some point later. Specifically, the existence of labor taxes. Did we already put that out? I don't really know.
Pretty sure we
Everything is a blur. Everything is, what is society? What is life? What is YouTube? What is the world? The point is, I do not appreciate or support the existence of labor taxes. I do, in fact, think that they are a moderate form of slavery. And unlike Vaushv, I oppose slavery. Okay. Moving backwards, I don't know why I went back. I shouldn't have done that. I should never go forward and back in a presentation. It's just not. It's not the cleanliness of the presentation that we're looking for. Okay. Know Nothing is a streamer. He's a relatively important-ish streamer. He's like, you know, a 100-person Andy, whatever he is. So he says. He's replying to Destiny. This omni-liberal guy, that's Destiny. For those who don't know, he's been kicked off of Twitter like 6 times, but he just keeps coming back. You know, he just keeps coming back for more, and I appreciate it because fuck Twitter. They don't deserve the ability to kick people off unilaterally. That's a whole different discussion. We're not going to have it now. Houston, I have brought up so many discussions today that we're not having now, and I need to stop. The point is, I'm just going to read this. It's one thing to tolerate people taking advantage of tax avoidance strategies, but not sure why you would advocate for that. Like, if you agree that the money would be better placed in the government's hands, wouldn't you at least prefer that they don't avoid paying it? Okay. This is a reasonable question.
So what is it saying?
So he's asking, why are you advocating? Why is Destiny advocating for people to avoid taxes? Right?
Okay.
So. And it's a reasonable thing. If you think taxes are a good thing, why are you trying to avoid taxes? Explicitly talking about the fact that you're moving to Texas to avoid taxes. Okay. Destiny's response is, if you don't like the rules, change the rules. Don't ever handicap yourself because you think it's right. You should maximize yourself in whatever system you exist in. One person paying more taxes won't change anything. Advocate for policy change, not self-sacrifice. This was tweeted out the exact same day as he retweeted our post. The exact same day. I didn't notice it at the time, but he posted this like an hour and a half before posting ours. Okay, this is in direct contradiction to everything he was arguing all of last night.
Yeah.
What he's saying here is that you don't have an obligation to live in accordance with your principles. If you're someone who believes that taxation, right, that people should pay their taxes, that people should not be avoiding taxes, that taxes should be something that's large on larger people, which obviously Destiny is at this point. All of this. If you believe in taxation, you have an obligation to pay your taxes. If you believe that, people should provide information in the context of a gig economy such that other people who are smaller and lower in their career, trying to move up the ladder in the same context to get to the point where you already are, if you believe that, then you should be sharing information that is necessary, including your Patreon number. But if you are in the context that Destiny is saying here, then what the fuck? He's agreeing with Vaushv and the fucking, if you own slaves, it's all Gucci so long as you're not making new people be a slave. This is the worst.
Yeah.
He's directly contradicting himself.
Yeah.
I do not approve. We're moving on. Okay.
Yeah.
This is bad because he's advocating effectively for change requires marginal sacrifice, right? I'm not asking that much, right? I'm asking for, if you believe in taxes, Destiny, you should pay your taxes in full and you shouldn't try to avoid them. I don't believe in taxes. I don't do that because I try to avoid as much as I can legally, of course, because I don't believe that taxes on labor should exist. I absolutely do not get upset when someone makes me pay for a water bill because I should be paying a water bill because natural resources belong to society. That's totally valid. I absolutely live by my principles in that context. Advocating effectively for change requires marginal sacrifices. I am asking for Philosophy Tube. I am asking for SHAUN and all of these people, literally. I'm not asking you to give a single penny to anyone. I'm asking solely that you tell us how much and how you are making money so that other people can try to follow your business model such that they too can become a left-wing YouTuber or streamer, whatever they are, in the exact same capacity that you already are. That's all I'm asking. It's not like I'm asking that much. This is a very marginal sacrifice. Okay. Also, he's wrong on labor taxes, which I discussed, but whatever. Vaushv had the worst debate performance of all time, excluding Demon Mama. We're not getting into the whole Demon Mama controversy. There's a whole controversy about Demon Mama, which I'm sure you don't know about, and it's totally fine. You don't need to know about it. You are missing nothing. Absolutely nothing. Okay, why didn't Vaushv bring up that tweet that was literally put out? This was a 3.5 hour long conversation. And this was posted the exact same day as the post that this entire thing was started over. How the freaking frick
They just didn't.
is
They couldn't
Vaushv
get
so
enough
bad
of
at his
us.
job? Say it again.
They couldn't get enough of us.
But I don't understand. Vaushv is a debate bro with 330,000 subscribers.
Oh, he's like a debate person?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
That's an oversight then.
It's literally his job to debate people.
Yeah. That's...
And he couldn't find the tweet that was posted that fucking day that directly contradicts everything that Destiny was saying. It's bad. Okay. Also, Destiny is a dick. I just want to take a moment and recognize the fact that Destiny is a dick. Here he is being a dick on Twitter to Big Joel, who's one of the good ones. Big Joel tells us this information and he's being good, but Destiny's better than pretending to have a good faith conversation with someone, then take off to Twitter afterwards, giving the most unbelievably stupid takes related to their position to rally your audience against them. Destiny, calm down. We should calm down also. I'm sorry. I've been getting very angsty. Let's take a moment. Let's say, what should our chant be? We need to have a chant in favor of Big Joel.
I don't even know who he is.
It doesn't matter. He's a YouTuber. He's a YouTuber.
People who are going to suggest this, no, I'm not going on Destiny's Twitch so he can hang up. Speak in a way I wouldn't in a million years and pretend that he's some rational, wise king for doing it. Okay, so they had some kind of argument.
They had some kind of argument on Twitch. And then after that, Big Joel was like, hey, I don't agree with Destiny's point. I don't even remember what they were arguing about. I don't really care. The point is that Destiny's being a dick. And I support Big Joel in this context. I don't know Big Joel all that well, but I do support him in this context. We need to have a chant in favor of Big Joel. What should our chant be?
What's up, Big Joel? Big Joel.
Big Joel. Big Joel. Big Joel. Big Joel. Big Joel. We're moving on. Okay. Also, he's a dick. Continued some more. Is a freelance writer just a more eloquent way of saying unemployed? Being a dick, Destiny. I don't know why you're being a dick, but
That's
you're
not
being
cool.
a dick. It's not cool. Fuck you. Anyway, we're moving on. In conclusion, fuck the internet. That's part 5. Part 6. Also, I don't like Philosophy Tube because her abortion video is absolute cancer. So screw her extra. The only reason I'm bringing this up is because they were talking about Philosophy Tube a lot, and how Destiny also hates Philosophy Tube last night. That's the only reason I'm bringing that up. Part 7. Takeaways. Oh, this doesn't have all of the takeaways. There's more takeaways. Let's hold up. Can you still see it? You can still see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Takeaway part 7. Takeaways. People who hide their income.
Another slide.
Yeah. Okay. People who hide their income are fake leftists and trash humans. That's part 1. Number 2, ignore point 1 altogether because we need to work together to defeat the fascists. Number 3, hold leaders to account when they are being bad people. Number 4, don't bully our leaders off the internet. Number 5, follow us on TikTok. Number 6, Philosophy Tube's abortion video is terrible. Okay, we're going back, play from current slide because we have to show you. There we go. Part 7, there's a part 8. We went past it. Part 8, okay. This is the important one. Class consciousness in the gig economy. It's not like I'm asking that much. It's not that hard from an economic perspective. I'm not saying that the work itself isn't hard, because the work itself is hard to do the work that all of these people that we're describing on this list do. It's hard work. There's no question.
Right.
However,
for sure.
What I'm asking specifically here is not a hard ask. I am asking you to tell me your salary now, please. I am asking for you to shout people out frequently. Smaller creators, you gotta shout them out on your channel. The Surfs TV does this a lot. They're a big streamer now. What's the name? Thought Slime does this a lot. There are a lot of people who make space for smaller creators, and it's very important that you do that.
Yeah,
Part
we're kind of losing the information war.
Yeah, we are. Yeah,
by like a lot.
By like a lot. A lot. It's a problem.
Part of the issue is this, but
that we fight each other.
Yeah. But I guess we're just not going to talk about that.
No, I think it's worth talking about. I have to finish my slides, but then we can have a conversation about that also. Yeah. Part 3 is make time for small people. You got to go on their channels. You got to like give them, all of the space that they need. You got to talk to them on Twitter, off the record, and on the record, whatever it is. All of that. Got to make space for the small people. Number 4. When the small people are wrongly hurt by companies, shame the companies publicly. I.e., when the Surfs TV got booted off YouTube. There were a bunch of left-wing commentators who rightly got online and were like, hey, the Surfs TV was kicked off of YouTube. There's no reason for that. Stop. Number 5, this is the most important one other than number 1. Please, just in general, be not a dick. That is my slides. Okay. You were talking about how, thank you. I'm very talented. Okay. You were talking about how we need to stop being assholes to each other.
Yeah. Just because I feel like part of why we're losing this information war is because the people on the right are kind of, I don't want to generalize because I don't know all that well, but from my experience, very homogenous in their beliefs. And even if they don't believe everything someone else believes, they kind of just don't talk about it. They're like, okay, well, that's your branch or that's like what you believe, but we're still like gonna talk about each other and like we're building a platform, we're building a movement, right? We kind of like they work well and do that. Like we looked at the different kinds of like media companies that are smaller that are pumping out content. But okay. I don't know. Yeah. Do we have that?
So
I don't really think we do.
So we have like the Young Turks. They're pretty big. We have like Brian Tyler Cohen. He's pretty big. We have Sam Cedar pretty big. We have Dave Pacman pretty big. We do have
but are they like companies? Because that was like a company.
The Young Turks is a company.
Okay.
Yeah. They're like a $20 million, $30 million company. They're pretty big.
Okay.
But you're right. There's definitely more money, and of course, there's more money on the right. There always has been more money. There always
Sure.
will be more money on the right because they're fucking fascists.
Right.
And the fascists pay well. The dark side does have
Right.
cookies. It is true. We have brownies. On the left, we have brownies.
Oh, I want a brownie.
Houston, you didn't even get that was a weed joke, and I'm really upset.
No, I understand that it was a weed joke, but I also
that's
want
good.
brownies.
I also want a brownie. I got myself some ice cream sandwiches yesterday. I got six ice cream sandwiches. There is one ice cream sandwich left in my freezer right now because I ate all of the other ice cream sandwiches.
Yeah, I surmise that.
Yes, which is admittedly disgusting, but it's fine. The point is that I'm concerned. Sure. I'm concerned. You're right that even what we just did there, or what it was mostly just me. I just shat on like
it was
60 people. It was only me. What I just did there, I think you're right, is an attack on a bunch of lefties. But I want to be clear, number one, that I am not saying, other than Jimmy Dore, that any of those people are irredeemable. Jimmy Dore is irredeemable. But other than Jimmy Dore, they're all potentially valuable, useful people in society again, right? Sure. They can be recycled. Right now, they are a broken part of society, but it's very expensive, right, to make a new human. Okay, you have to. They literally, right? They have to sit there inside of another human for 9 months, and even after that, they're not actually like valuable to society. They're still basically a parasite, even if they're not literally like parasitically attached to a human being. They're still basically a parasite for the next like 16, 17 years. So also, it's like very
before
expensive.
That, it's hard to conceive a child.
Yeah, there's also that. Yeah. And also, there's a bunch of nonsense required. It requires so much labor. It requires so much, all of this nonsense with children. So as a general rule, the way to fix society is not to create more humans. It is to recycle the ones that we have. Okay. And so in my belief that we must recycle the people, going through that list, all of those people other than Jimmy Dore are redeemable. And the way that they redeem themselves in this case is very simple. Just tell me your Patreon earnings. That's it. There was 3.5 hour long debate between Destiny and Vaushv, right? There was, Jola is doing a whole nonsense thing about this. I'm sure Demon Mama is going to be talking about this. I'm sure that like every single person in the online media right now is talking about my tweet, which is totally normal and totally awesome. But the point is that no, but seriously, right? Like if we unpack it, like it is important, number one, that this is something that when you criticize your own team, you should criticize them in the way that they can redeem themselves and that they can fix the problem in order to actually move forward as valuable members of the left. That's the first thing. The second thing is, what day is it? It's February 9th.
Right.
And that matters. I would not have done this if it were November and the election were in a day and a half.
Sure.
This is a very different point in our, the trajectory of the left post-election than it is prior to the election. We are in a point moving into the Biden administration. And the Biden-Harris administration, let's be honest, mostly the Harris administration, at least in 6 months once he dies. The Harris administration, right, is going to be affected by what the left wing is saying and what the left wing represents. And one of the things that the left wing has to represent moving forward is class consciousness in the gig economy. The gig economy, I think, has been entirely overlooked by the broad left in a way that I think is a serious problem. We have always been good on unions, and we continue to be good on unions. And unions do matter, and they will continue to matter moving into the future. But when the gig economy definitionally creates a system by which you're not working for one individual company. In fact, you're not working for two companies. You're probably working for 6 or 7 in the case of most of these guys. That is going to change what it means to be a worker. And it's going to change what it means to work alongside your fellow workers. And one of the things that is just a reality moving forward is whether or not we feel like it's an icky factor, whether or not we're fully like comfortable with it or whatever, we have to get into the context as a society where sharing information about your income is just a normal thing among
Yeah.
among the working
Because
class.
like even it's kind of like a rebirth of the classic I don't know, like The Office where the women get paid less than the men or
Yeah,
whatever.
100%.
And like that could either continue and you could be like the person, because like if you're paying like by the gig, you can pay different people different salaries and different amounts
Yeah.
based on what you think they're worth. Um, and being able to talk to people, I think, is even more important for yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
So
I think this is a real problem moving forward. I mean, like the reason that a union matters, as you're saying, is to ensure that specifically Black people and specifically women and specifically the people who at a historic level don't have access to information to the same degree that others in their community and in their workforce might. If I look at like who are the most successful people online in the social media space right now on the left, I look to someone like a Hassan Piker. Hassan Piker is Cenk Uygur, the founder of the Young Turks, his nephew. And so, of course, Hassan knows the value of his labor. Of course, Hassan knows how to get a good contract with Twitch. He has a contract with Twitch, and I haven't seen the information on it because you don't get to, which is frustrating. But there's no doubt in my mind that Hassan Piker, even in terms of even among people who have an equivalent number of viewership as he does, is well paid, because he has an abundance of information that other people, even people like Destiny, even people like Vaushv, who are not quite at his level of size right now, but are huge people in the media space, they're never going to have the access to information that Hassan was just born with. And that's really quite frustrating, because it's not fair that Cuomo is going to be the guy who is governor of New York, and also Cuomo is going to be the guy who's the most important at CNN. It's not fair that Anderson Cooper's mommy was important in the media. It's not fair that if you go down the list of all of the people who are important in the media and important in politics, it's not random. It's not random that Meghan McCain is on The View. It's not random that all of these people have this power. And it's true in new media space, and it's true in old media space. They have this power because they were born into the right family. And that's not just bad from like a moral perspective and from a left-wing perspective, because we believe that like everyone should have a chance to succeed. That's part of the reason it's bad. But another part of the reason that it's bad is because I want better leftists, because I just watched that debate, and you didn't, but I just watched that debate, and Vaushv sucked in that debate. He sucked. It was disgusting. He was pathetic. And we have better leftists out there. They're just not online. They're just not in the media space that they need to be in order to actually be maximally efficient in their advocacy.
Sure. Because I mean, more people will push people forward.
Right.
Like you. If we didn't do this, you wouldn't have the platform, and none of this would have happened.
And none of this would have happened.
So we're having conversations about.
And this is why you must like, subscribe, and share. This is why you must follow us on TikTok and particularly Twitter. This is why. Blah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like you could start the next political shitstorm on the left because
I think I already did.
Jonah's. I know you did, but I'm saying like not you, but like you, our audience.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Share our video and start like a war between leftist media about whatever.
Yeah, but I want to be clear.
The Elon Musk one.
Oh, that one's a spicy one. That one's coming up soon. Yeah, we haven't put that out yet.
No, it's not.
I am really bad at knowing what we have and haven't.
It's okay.
Out. Yeah,
it's a learning process.
It's a learning process. All right. We love the audience.
Is that it?
I think that's it. Should we wait? We need to meditate. We need to meditate for the left.
Okay.
Can we meditate for the left? I'm sitting.
Okay.
All right. Okay. You're in charge of the meditation. What are we saying?
I don't meditate. So when you meditate, you gotta manifest what you want, right?
You gotta manifest what you want.
So we want to manifest. So we're gonna close our eyes and just take a deep breath. Okay, and on the next one, when you breathe out, you say leftist, 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 leftist. Okay. Just gonna breathe in.
Leftist, leftist,
Leftist,
leftist,
leftist,
leftist,
leftist,
leftist,
leftist,
leftist,
leftist,
leftist, leftist, leftist, leftist.
One more time.
Leftist,
One more time. Leftist,
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 leftist, leftist, leftist, leftist,
leftist. I'm really bad at saying leftist. I was just going left, 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 left.
That's a hard word to say.
It is a hard word. Say leftist 12 times fast, and I'll be impressed. Yeah. Okay.
Do it and post your video in the comments or tweet us.
Or tweet us.
Yeah.
We love all of you. I hope you have a wonderful night. Any other thoughts, Houston?
Share it. Tell us your income. Right?
Tell
That's
us,
what we're doing.
Tell us how
your
much money
income.
you make.
I don't make anything.
I don't make anything yet either.
But I'll let you know when I do.
But I'll let you know when I do.
Yeah.
And Philosophy Tube's video on abortion was trash. Yeah. Bye. Mwah.